The other meeting was pretty fast.
Yeah. Half hour. Hello. Oh. Hello. Come on. So.
Sure. Yeah, so I don't, so you maybe we could just see that the water's sitting there.
Sure.
The walls. So you kind of has it that hangs down in between the walls.
Like we will chat at portfolios and or the items.
Anybody want to see these? Sorry.
Lights in the ground. Oh, we came over, we turned the lights on for the memorial, and we plugged them into the outlet in the ground, and it worked.
Oh, so are they on that timer then, do you think?
It's a motion thing, so when it goes dark, the sensor
Yeah.
turns the lights on.
Oh, good.
There's no time.
Good deal.
Light sensor.
I'd have been driving by really slow tonight, so.
And they'll wonder what you're doing.
No, it doesn't work. It's working.
Okay. No one else wants to ask?
I'm just trying to remember how to use them.
How to what?
Design.
You sure?
You're supposed to be home taking care of your hubby.
That's my sister. My sister's the one that got married.
What's that?
My sister's the one that got married.
Yeah.
Oh, it's your sister.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought it was you. I'm sorry.
it's all right.
Judy Brown.
Sure.
From Baldwin.
Oh. Well, I really gotta shut one of them. This way I don't get text. I need it.
Hi.
Did you want to
Oh,
But I'm on call, so I gotta keep my phone in my hand. This is good, right? Oh, yes, you get stuff. We get a text, and then we also get a voicemail.
Good thing I quit, because I don't have one of them.
She texted back.
What's that?
garden? Did you have-
No,
No.
a little bit, yeah, just, it's crap.
Good.
Hey,
Yeah. He was right.
I'm awake.
Going to sewer. Want Bill?
oh, good. It wasn't recording.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order. Okay, approval of minutes, September 11th, commission meeting.
I move that we approve the minutes.
Okay,
I'll second.
everybody have a chance to review, any questions, comments? Steve?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kip?
Aye.
No,
Aye.
yes. 27th minutes. Everybody have a chance to review them?
I'll move that we approve the September 27th special meeting minutes.
Okay,
I'll second that.
okay. Questions, comments, anything? No? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kip?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Approval of financials?
I move that we approve the financials for September.
Okay.
I'll second.
Any questions, comments?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Good. Well,
Aye.
yes. Claudia, I'm guessing you want to get out of here?
I wouldn't mind.
Okay, we're gonna move you up.
Thank you.
Claudia Scott, on behalf of Civic Club, blocking off parts of Main Avenue.
There's actually 4 items altogether, but it all does concern the Candy Caravan event.
I'm sorry, the what event?
The Candy Caravan Halloween
Oh, okay.
trick-or-treating event.
Okay.
Last year, we had somewhere between 120 and 150 kids come into our store on Main. That's a lot of kids running across Main dressed in costume parents, so we looked at safety issue and was going to approach the commission about the possibility of blocking off Main Street from the museum. And this way kind of depends on the answer to one of the other questions I have for you and other businesses donating. So whether it's the Memorial Hall Street or a little further down this way, kind of depends on the other businesses that we, so that's my first request.
Are they all kind of tied together then, or are they?
Yeah.
Do you
I can go
want to
through
present
them.
them all, or do we want to do these individually, or?
Why don't I present them all and then you can make the decision
Okay.
whether they have to be acted on individually or all together. The second part of that is, I think, more just an informational thing. I'm not sure we need approval. Along 83, it's kind of the same concern, but parents having to drive from business to business to business. We've had a couple of people volunteer to drive like a pickup with trailer on them, hay bales, where we could park at one location and then the group could get on and then they could drive them from the businesses on the frontage road and back to that parking. I wasn't, like I said, I'm not sure if that needed an approval or just an information. The other item would be to ask the commission that in case of inclement weather, we could use the Memorial Hall. And then in that case, we would just like set up tables around the hall and then the businesses would just have their spots on a candy and they just go from table to table. So the request to use the Memorial Hall. And then the final one would be, because last year I called and asked if the city wanted to be participating business, and I didn't think about it needing to have to come here. So it was asking if the city would like to be a business or a group in the Candy Caravan, either by being a candy stop where the kids would come and someone had hand out candy. We also have had businesses, groups that aren't available to do that. So what we've done, if you just want to donate candy, one of the other businesses, we'll have separate pots. We don't combine all the candy. It's this candy in this bucket you trick or treat from is donated by the city. This one's Scott's Hardware bucket. This is, in fact, we had 4 at our store last year to do some of that of those, the businesses out of town and things like that. So it would be to request for the city if they'd like to participate in that way.
What time frame is this?
3:30 to 5:30 on Halloween, which is a Tuesday. Somebody asked me what day it was, and I said, October 31st. But it's a Tuesday. From 3:30 to 5:30.
Well, started off where I moved that we allow the street to be blocked out from the museum to Dock Shop.
Yeah, like I said, it depends. If you want to be a stop where kids would come to the city, to the building
The only
here.
thing I'm concerned about is we move it too far back that I'm not sure where the cars would go
Yeah,
once they come
So-
up the street, so that's the only,
Yeah, they gotta have a way around.
yeah, I gotta somehow.
okay.
And is that something that you'd want the city to set out?
We would appreciate help. We probably have, because the thing is, a lot of the business, well, obviously all the businesses are still open.
Right.
We'll have, people running and a couple people volunteering to help if we get the hay wagon type thing set up. That's not set in stone yet, but there has to be people there on the ground helping load and unload and somebody in the back of the trailers and things like that, so.
Okay, but you just for blocking off down here for now.
Yeah, just for
Yes.
blocking off
That's
for
for
right
down
now.
here.
Yes,
So I
just
will
downtown.
second that one. So do we have any discussion on blocking off Main? Okay, we have a motion, a second. Keith,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
good?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, and then, we'll just have to coordinate with the city guys to get the barricades up. Okay.
What was the second one?
Well,
And I'll make a motion to approve that, let the businesses use the city hall.
Oh,
Yeah.
in
case
case of
of-
that. And that would be the thing too, if we need to set up the memorial hall, we won't need the street barricades.
Okay,
Because we won't block off the
Yeah.
street, we'll have to set up that way.
and I'll second that.
Okay, any further discussion on that one? Keith,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
good?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes.
I don't know if we have to do anything with the hayride, do we?
No, that's gonna be all on
I
your
wouldn't
own.
think
Yeah,
so.
it was just,
That'll be
I
your
didn't
own
think
deal.
so, but I thought I'd bring it up in case and so, yeah, notice, we're actually, one of the things we will do with both, is we're planning to talk to the sheriff's department to see maybe if, with where, they can maybe even watch and block cars to let the thing out, the hay wagon out, things
Right,
like
that's,
that.
I was gonna suggest, maybe a little bit of, some kind of, assurance that.
And I think they will, they
Safety.
were actually a candy stop last year, so.
Oh, and then for the city, I guess.
I'd like to see us donate at least $50 worth of candy and put a pail over there or something for us.
Make a motion.
I make a motion for that.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? Keith,
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
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 Yes. Okay.
So on that matter, if the commission wants to hand them out, they can. If you don't and just want to donate, you could give me the money, because I have other businesses doing that, and then we purchase all at once. Or B, if you purchase, then you can drop it off at either the iceberg or the hardware store.
I think we'll leave that up to the city staff if they want to come over, like say, somewhere and dish it out, or just.
Just let me know one way or
Have
the
you do
other.
it.
So let's get one too.
If I don't have to work, I will be there. I have no problem with it.
Dress up and,
Well, I won't go that far.
hey, Dr. Demento is going to return, just give you fair warning. That is the items I had, so thank you very much.
Thank
Yes,
you.
Thank you. Thanks for doing that too,
Yeah.
for the community.
Last year being the first year, the turnout we had was just amazing.
We need more of that, so thank you.
Memorial Hall rollaway bleachers.
Yeah, it's not in the electronic packet, but in your paper packet, there's a quick flyer. And these are bleachers that are tentatively available for use in the Memorial Hall. And the school will gift one to the city if we buy the other. And they're a 3-row, 15-foot tip roll bleacher. That's at a discount of $1,300, and the beauty of this is it could be tipped up on its side and motored out of the Memorial Hall if need be. Also, it'd be used in the Memorial Hall, so just wanted to get some discussion going on that to see if it's something we want to purchase.
I'm assuming that's $13.95 each.
Yes, $13.95 each, and I'm thinking,
Yep.
where Rena's kind of started this, I believe, is because they're planning on starting some 5th and 6th grade games down in that gym instead of the little gym. So he wanted to have some bleachers, so that's kind of, I think, the beginning point to that.
So we buy one and they're gonna gift one to us?
Right.
Yeah.
Does the school pay anything to use the memorial building for those games? It's kind of freebie.
Why? The first I knew about the games.
I don't know if they will be paying for the use of it or not.
I don't think they pay for the use,
school.
but they'll end up paying that deposit and doing their cleanup and all that. I would imagine so, I guess, that we don't really,
I don't know, I mean, there's that seating in that.
mhm.
And the bonus is that they can be tipped up, so it's side storage off to the side, used elsewhere. It seems like a pretty good deal.
And I looked this up, and when they're tipped off, it's about 2 feet.
That was gonna be my question.
You know, so they're not very thick, they're only, whatever that is, about this thick, so they can go up against the wall.
Okay.
And they're light enough, obviously, one person
Yeah,
can
just
do it.
aluminum.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a tip and roll bleacher for the 1395.
Yep. I'll second that.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Keith?
I'm gonna pass just because I work at the school.
That don't
I
matter.
don't think
Okay,
that
aye.
matters. What do you,
Okay.
Well, let's vote.
Just so you know, I work at the school.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Reese?
Aye.
Chip?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, sale date for used equipment. Brian hasn't said if he's got everything put together or not. He's not here.
One thing I wanted to say about, I actually went down to look at that tilt bed trailer myself. And then I think that, Kim questioned whether that was for sale. So that's something we might want to check on to see if the green homemade tilt bed trailer.
Okay. Mhm.
I'm not sure if that's the one that I was looking at, but he questioned on whether that.
Got two
was
great
for-
big wheels, one on each
Yeah,
side. Yeah,
yeah.
that's the one, yeah.
So just, we might want to check on that one.
Okay, sure. Well, like I said, he hasn't got a hold, and he said he's got, you know, I asked him to get everything lined up, and so we'll see. Maybe he'll be in later.
So you're just tabling that?
Yep.
Okay.
Bid proposal from Dan Kress for parcel in McLean County.
Les Corville sent, over a bid proposal. It's for a small piece of property that is down over by the
Down here.
river. It's that little,
It's that one that,
Lake, yeah.
that Clay wanted that time, right?
and it's surrounded by other parcels. It's right, it's adjacent to one that, Dan owns,
Can
but
somebody
it's not.
point it out here?
Be right, excuse me.
Mhm.
It would be right. Let's see now, here's the look. Let's see, it would be like right, there's the, it would be like right here. You know, this is where like the Thompson place is, you know, and then, I think Price bought all that, and then, that Clay Hill Clip
Yeah, it's
bought
up
all
there.
this stuff, and then he was wondering about that, he thought that parcel was originally here, but it's just a little tiny thing about right there. It's very small, very,
Does he
very
have any
small.
other land around there?
Yeah, he owns,
It does.
like a big bunch of it right here.
Okay, so it's not taken away from
No.
either side?
He's kind of the only one who could
Okay.
benefit from
Okay.
it.
It's really no good to anybody else, it's not big enough to do anything on unless you have other property, so. So I'll make a motion that, we approve the bid request for the county to sell that to Dan for $100. And then he's also responsible for the specials and everything, correct, Joan?
Second.
Any further discussion on that? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kit?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Extra pump for Lagoon Lift Station.
This was brought up earlier and then we tabled it. It's in our budget, so I believe so, right? So-
For 2017,
Yeah, for this next year. It's in
for
our-
2008.
Yeah.
Didn't we budget one of those for this year?
Did we budget for this year or was it for next year? I thought we budgeted for this next year.
I guess.
Well, either way, it's budgeted, so we can,
Right.
we can buy one.
Well, I
I
think
don't-
it's something we have to have on hand.
Yeah.
I asked Brian Friday. I don't have any numbers on it. I don't know how much and he didn't know he was gonna check. Oh, and there he is.
Yeah. I don't have anything other than that first quote, 4,600, you know, for that pump.
So it's still
That's the
4600.
extra pump.
I'm sorry?
That's the extra pump in Fleegers.
Right.
Yeah,
I think, wasn't that the one we're talking about? Yeah, extra pump for Lagoon Lift, it says Lagoon Lift Station.
yeah.
It's on Fleegers
It's
though, right?
Fleegers, that's an extra one.
Right.
There's two in there, that's an extra just to have on hand.
You said 46?
Yeah, that's what I was quoted, yeah. Well, I won't say quoted, you need, you know, from month to month, you don't know.
Well, it can change until you order it, I'm sure.
That's, like that one that we put in, the lift station down here, that was like roughly 3,000, I think, when we redid that, so
Yeah,
that's right in there.
yeah, same ballpark.
A couple of years ago, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have no extra at this time, correct?
No, and we never ever have, but, you know, because of the time lapse that takes place,
Right.
they'll always get us a temporary to run it while we can.
Right.
But that may even take us a day or two to get them up here.
Mhm.
What's the fee on the temporary, or is that just?
Nope, that's nothing on the, nothing on the temporary. If they're gonna fix it, they'll,
They'll do us a
that's
favor.
freebie. Yep,
Oh, they don't charge for the temp?
nope.
I would motion that we do purchase the extra pump for the lagoon lift station.
Okay. I'll second that.
So would we store it in the city hall?
We can just put it in the water plant in
Oh, water.
front of the building up there. It's
Sure.
not like it's dirty or anything like that.
And it's not super huge, it's what, like about
Yeah, put it on there.
a little bigger than a 5-gallon bucket, but.
Do you want a price not to exceed? I mean, or is it?
Well, a fresh quote would be nice. If you're saying it changes month to month, maybe it's gone.
Well, again, factor in the fact that that's just the pump itself. That's not installation, you know, when they come
Right.
up to do it.
Yeah.
And they come from Fargo, so.
Oh, yeah. How about would you,
Should I amend it for,
5,000?
that's what I was thinking, okay, I'll amend for 5,000, not to exceed 5,000.
Okay, I'll second that again. And if it's more than that, you'll have to bring it back. Any further discussion on that? So this might take a while to get, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it'll take 6 weeks just to get
Okay.
it here.
So we'll be very close to the end of the year anyway, so. Okay, Keith,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Kip,
Right.
Mom,
Aye.
yes. Okay, Bill Knox. Old courthouse assessment options.
Yeah, if you, it's page 29 and on the electronic piece. So just a little bit of background. Early in September, there was an engineering firm, JLG, that came up and was working with Tana Larson, looking at some ideas for a pool. Well, in that same meeting, we had that firm go over and look at the courthouse. And so we asked them to give us a proposal for the old courthouse on what they thought would be best to revitalize that and make it usable for the community. And what they did is they produced 2 options. And option 1 is just a concept design. It would be just a site visit or meeting. They'd talk about code, accessibility review, and how that looks to make it better used. They do a basic site analysis and then a conceptual design. That is not including mechanical or electrical engineering. It's just a basic, here's some hints on how to use this building better. It's no cost. Option number 2 is much more in depth. It has a cost of roughly $15,000. But what they do is they have multiple site meetings. They have a mechanical and electrical engineer come in, and they do a comprehensive review of that building and provide us with information on a priority list, what they would tackle first, what they suggest we tackle first, and they could map out a phased approach plan to rehabbing that building. In that option 2 model, they'll do site control, hazardous material assessment if required, site survey, soil borings, give feedback, and then do a financial pro forma on it. So option 2 is much more detailed. The goal is to have a plan for that building, because right now the city's budgeting, $10,000, $15,000 per year, and we can understand that, yeah, it needs some paint. Well, if you go into the building, you would understand, yeah, we need to address the basement, we need to address the plaster that's falling. It's not HVAC controlled, but how do we get around that for the long term on this piece? So the cost would give us a phased plan where we could roll out more information to the residents of Washburn. My preference lies there because then we have a clear goal in mind. And so it's a predictable scope of work that they would provide to us. So I just wanted to open it up for discussion on that. Option 1 and 2 through JLG.
Well, how about we start out with option 1, see what they say, and then if we feel the need to continue, we could always, you know, do an option 2 after that. Because basically option 1 is $0 compared to 15 grand.
Right. Yep. Feedback, I guess.
Are we, if we do option 1, are we signed up for anything extra after that point?
No.
Okay, it's not like it's a contingent?
Nope. Nope. This isn't anything to do with that.
I think option 1 would be a good idea to start with at least, and see where we're gonna go from there.
Okay. Just for information, it will not include the mechanical, electrical services. Any assessments or recommendation for the plumbing, electrical would be provided by our owners, or by the owners, which is the city. You know, we have options on option number 1, even if we were to get locals involved to give their best estimates on, say, electrical, go in there, see what they think, the HVAC. So you could, in theory, manage this project locally and have that done. We just need to have a driver for that, clearly organized. Option 2, you hand it over to them, there's upfront cost, and it's much more detailed.
We'll make a motion to go with option 1 for right now, and maybe take it from there.
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion on that? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Alright.
Good?
All right.
No?
Okay.
Yes. And what is this Blue Flint ethanol volunteer program?
Yeah, that's kind of part of it, just for information. So we have outside entities that are interested in doing some volunteer time. And we'll talk about volunteer piece during portfolios. But one item could be that we look at getting the building painted through volunteer work. But that changes our scope on that, because what we had planned is to bid that out through a contractor and have them do a one-stop shop. We'll take care of scaffolding, get supplies. Well, if you look to a volunteer model, it switches slightly, because now you're looking at a project manager from the city. And I don't think we're set up for that, especially not this late in the year. Mark had mentioned at the annual meeting, there's just not enough heating hours in the day for that paint to adhere. That makes sense. But in the future, we can plan for that if we're able to manage these projects through the city and drive them. We could leverage volunteer time through local entities, and we might have some actual progress in that model. So that's just for information. Also, for the Memorial Hall, that switches gears just a little bit, but that's something that is maybe more feasible for the end of the year here. But volunteer piece is available for this group to talk about in the future.
Okay. Any questions on it from anybody? Okay. Special assessment assistance program.
We have had a number of residents that have asked for assistance with their special assessments. It's just water and sewer only, as it has been in past years. Pavement doesn't apply.
Can I interrupt for just one second? What page would that be on, do you know? So I can
31.
find 31, okay.
I don't have my iPad with me. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have the individuals, but I think 31, it's all lumped together, right? There it is, got it, thank you. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. So, nine applicants, and then some had water, some had sewer, so, based upon the income requirements that are set out with that, we had a total request of $5,824.86. That, would be paid on, to their assessments.
On one of these here, it's got, 2 water assessments and 1 sewer assessment, and the one's really small, is there, what's?
There was a sewer assessment to all the parcels in town in 2009. And so everybody has that small annual sewer assessment. When this program was started and in subsequent years, it has never been stated that it applies only to current projects. It's for sewer and water assessments, and so those previous assessments, I
Sure,
guess,
okay.
are then
Well,
allowed
that-
to be included.
Okay, I think that's fine, I don't know.
Well, how can old assessments be included on this deal, because you have a timeline to apply for this?
They can apply for their annual payment, and so the program is designed to help people with water and sewer assessments.
For
But
the
we've-
project year?
Well, yeah, but this is their annual payment for this year. It's not payments from before, right? It's the payment for this year.
Yeah, it's
Correct, but I think he's
altogether.
asking if it's project specific.
Oh, I don't
And
think so.
it's not just for this year's project, it's for any of the special assessments that are assigned to a property. If they met the income guidelines, then they would be able to qualify for help for any of those assessments. But not pavement. I just wanna say that again, because
Right, yeah,
sometimes people
no,
come in thinking they get the pavement, and it's just the utilities.
Yeah.
How much money do we have in the fund?
Yes, so, the total amount that is being requested is $5,824, and the balance is $5,222, so it, leaves a deficit of $602.58. We originally started out with $10,000 3 years ago, I believe, so now we're down.
And we added some to the budget for this, right?
Nope,
Oh, I thought we did.
This came from 1 cent sale.
it was in the budget a number of years ago, and then it was taken back out and, requested from sales and use tax.
Okay.
So is the idea to cut everybody back by a certain percent to make the goal, or? Because I think it went to 1 cent sales tax because I think somebody had mentioned, you know, why should this guy here pay for your assessments?
Yeah, and why should we?
You know, with his taxes.
Yeah, why should we use property taxes to pay for
Right.
somebody else's property
Right.
taxes?
I guess I would hate to see this scaled back. These are definitely people who are in need and have substantial assessments, as do many, many people in town, so I'm not saying that.
Mhm.
So this is a fund that we have to help the citizens with 1 cent sales tax. And we haven't put no money into this fund? Am I right? Is that what I heard, or?
For the city of Washburn has not put in money into this particular fund.
Right, but we-
Sales and use tax
Yeah.
originally funded it. It was originally funded through sales and use tax money.
And we had
Okay.
enough until now, then we
Okay.
ran out, so.
So if they apply, people are allowed, or not allowed, but we accept applications annually.
Right.
And then, we're just at the bottom of it now, so we're 600 short.
So when was the last time we asked for any money to go in there?
I believe it was 2014, the end of 2014 or beginning of 2015.
It's only been put in there once, correct?
Correct. It was one initial sum of 10,000. I do have a sales and use tax meeting on Wednesday, so if the commission wanted to give approval to apply for additional funds to refill this, I guess I feel strongly for this program. I think there's a big need in the community.
So what would we be thinking about? Would we be thinking about, asking for $10,000 so we can not only cover this amount, but maybe for the next year or possibly
Well,
two?
I would say that,
Or do you
yeah.
think more, or what are we thinking?
Well, 10 years lasts us, 10,000 lasts us 2 years, so.
That'd be fine, yeah.
You know, this is probably the highest one we've had so far though, correct, John? 5,000.
Last year would have been comparable, we actually had, I guess, I don't have the 2016 numbers, but we had one that came in 2017. So we acted upon it retroactively for that person, because there's a change in circumstances.
Right.
So I think it would have been pretty close, I think.
I wanna make a motion that we ask for, to replenish this for $12,000.
Okay,
I'll second.
discussion?
To vote on this, or to talk about this payment though, that's on the sheet, when would this be due, or when would we, is that the end of the year?
No, well,
Well, if you do it tax time, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So it could actually
So
be
it'll be
in
in
February, maybe?
Okay.
But I guess I would need, okay, so there'd be two phases, so I would need approval to pay this amount, because then when I send over the new project information, we don't have, I don't send over the amortizations for for these.
Well, let's okay the money, so we have enough money to pay
And
it.
then,
Yeah, I was just gonna say that,
Yeah.
why don't we approve trying to get some money so that we can
Yes.
tentatively cover the whole amount?
Let me amend that $12,602.58. Well, that puts it at even
Yeah.
12,000 after it's balanced out.
Sounds good.
We make it like even numbers.
It sounds stupid, but at the end it will be an even number.
and all going into next year.
And I'll re-second.
Okay, what's the figure? 12,000
So
what?
there'd be request to sales and use tax for $12,602.58.
60258.
Mhm.
It's been a long day, Larry.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table to ask sales and use tax for $12,602.58. We have a second. Is there any further discussion on this? Keith?
Aye.
Bruce?
Aye.
Good.
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, now back to,
I move that we, have Joan pay the $5,824.86 out.
but we don't have that much.
On
money,
the,
though.
on the condition that our sales and use amount is approved,
Wait, it's not?
then we'll have to come back.
I'll second.
Okay, just to let you know that once sales and use decides, it still has to come before the city commission again, you know, before it's official, so, you know. Any other discussion on it? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Okay. Bill's here, we'll go back to Bill now. Bill,
What's that?
you're on next on the agenda,
I am.
concerns for
I
security
sit
system.
and close the door in case you guys chase me out. Well, I was just gonna say a couple things,
Okay.
then I can just leave, right?
Yeah,
Well, I kinda think that this special election is kinda a waste of money. I mean, I'm a citizen of Washburn, and I got something to say, not as much as you guys. And I see in the paper that you guys are gonna install some cameras, which I'm fine with, because of security. But not under the guise of watching Larry. I am really disgusted with that. That was in the paper. That's not right. So, I just think that, I don't know any facts of what went on here or anything. I just think people can forgive and forget. I don't wanna see Larry recalled. I don't wanna see Joan fired or harassed. I don't wanna see Joan harassed or fired,
Mhm.
okay? That's what I see. Just everybody forget what's happened in the past and start over. I don't wanna see you recalled either. It's a waste of money. The cameras are probably a good idea, you know, with all the things happening around, so that's about all I was gonna say, except, some people should think twice about what the good Lord says about forgiveness. He's not gonna forgive your trespasses if you don't forgive theirs. That's what he says. And he's real, he's not just it's not just words. So, that's what I think.
Thank you, Bill.
That's all I gotta think. And if you don't mind, if you don't mind, I've been passing these cards out for years,
Thank you.
hundreds of cards, if not thousands. I just wish you'd take one. Just kind of,
Thank you.
just kind of think about it. Don't do any more fighting. Forgive and forget, right?
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Employee insurance information?
Okay, Noel and I met Human Resources with Mike Nelson, informational type of deal, 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Anyway, there's a form on the back, similar to what we had before. And I guess what we want to know is, do you want us as a commission to continue forward? And our plan would be, have Mike come up with a couple different options, give the employees 2 different options as far as insurance is concerned. One with I'll let him explain it, but we want to make sure that this is something you guys want us to do before we put the time into it, because we don't want to put any more time into it than what we've done, and then come here and then say, why are you guys doing that? Any questions for us?
I'm not sure what you mean by 2 different options.
Well, what he said is, and I think several different companies do this now, where they end up having a high deductible plan and probably a little bit lower deductible plan. High deductible plan would also have a health savings account. The plan would be, in both cases, to control our spending, because what's ended for the long term. What ends up happening is, because when you have a gold policy, it just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And also, it gives the employees no flexibility. If you go with the health savings account, it gives them a flexibility, so if they don't use their insurance, that money is still in that health savings account. So I guess, there's several steps that we'd have to go through, but we would like to know if this is something you want us to pursue, or if we want to wait on it, or what our thoughts are.
And this would be for,
Well, it's one of those things where we'd have to have Mike come and talk to the employees, Mike come and talk to all of us, kind of have it figured out. And if everything was in good shape, it might be fairly soon. If it's something where, it's gonna take a little while, people aren't real comfortable with it, latest we'd want it wouldn't be this January, it'd be the next January. But it could be somewhere between this January and next January.
like maybe in July or something.
Yeah.
Isn't that when our
Yeah.
contract was over? Well, I don't think it hurts to, figure out different options, I mean, if you can save the city money and save people money and,
Yeah, and that's kind of our
and,
plan, is we wanna kinda slow our growth, but we also wanna make sure that it's something that is, is feasible for the employees too. And that's why we say 2 different plans. And the way Mike explained it, obviously, if you're gonna go with a low deductible policy, it's probably gonna have to be some out of pocket by the employees. A low deductible or a high deductible policy would be probably little or none out of the employees' pockets. So that's kind of. But again, I'm not an insurance agent, that's something Mike has to talk to you guys
Right.
about and the employees about, and this is just the first step.
So is this just the info from last year?
No,
Or is this new
he gave it
info,
to
or-
us 2 weeks ago.
This current.
So this is current info, okay. Kind of hard to read, but I think I can manage.
Yeah, I don't know why they scanned it. I think the Medica's kind of out, just because he talked about that, and he said that,
I read in the paper that they're not
Yeah.
gonna renew North Dakota.
so, he'll come up with a couple different options, speak to the employees, then speak to us, and then we'll kind of have to go from there.
Mhm.
But to get it figured out, we have to start someplace.
Mhm. Works for me.
So that's all I got.
Okay, any questions on this one, anybody?
This next one's mine too. McLean Sheridan, a week ago I had a meeting with Olberg from McLean Sheridan, because we do have this intake, just kind of get an idea of what their thoughts were as far as financial. In the contract, it says that McLean Sheridan would do appropriate proportional charge for capital improvements. And McLean Sheridan said that they use 10% of the water, so they would be good with at least 10% of upfront costs.
I think that was the original agreement, 10%,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah. Well, no, it actually didn't, I think it was 6%.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
So they would be good with 10%, and then they also said they would be fine with a proportional amount of rate increase as our residents would get.
Okay.
So in both cases, so at least we have some numbers, and when we get closer, then we're gonna have to kind of probably get a committee together, and they'll have to get together, and then we'll, more specific numbers. But right now, they expect there to be a 10%
Sure.
upfront cost, which in $1 million project would be $100,000. And then a proportional, let's say we charge $3 a month for our water rates increase. They would also proportionally be good with that as well.
Okay.
But again, those are just, introductory meeting. The next time we have a meeting, when we need more specific numbers, we'll need to get a committee together, but at least we have numbers to play with now.
Right. Okay, very good. Any questions on that from anybody? Energy conservation grant.
I was working on, or Sharon was working on an energy conservation grant for the lights that were going into the fire department. And they would have qualified, it's the same grant that we had used for the memorial building, but the lights in the fire department came up pretty quick, and so now they're installed and it can't apply for that. But, we have kind of that same light issue in Bay 1 and Bay 2 out here in our shop, and so, we have it filled out, we're kind of halfway there, so, I guess I think it'd be a good idea to go ahead and see about getting lights for our shops as well.
Is
Or
that a
both of our
percent,
days.
oh, I'm sorry, is that a percentile grant, or is that,
Mhm. I think it was 65.
they pay 60?
Mhm.
Makes sense to me.
Do we need a motion on that, or just give you
Sure.
a head nod?
Minutes in the record, that's good.
I move that we apply for the energy conservation grant for the shop and any other places we may need. I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
I guess I asked for a motion on it because then it does somewhat imply that you were going to go ahead and with the changing of the lights also, so it gives Jamie, if we order from Jamie, kind of a starting point, that he's assured that too. So.
Well, I think the lights have been bad. Oh, I thought Brian was there. Sorry, I thought you were Brian. I think the lights have been bad in the shop for quite a while, so. All right, we have a motion and a second. Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kip?
Aye.
Well,
Aye.
yes. Garbage rates, 2018.
On that, right now, we're right there on break-even point, probably even losing a little bit of money, so. We cut it down before by, what, $3? And it looks like we're gonna need to increase our rates just so we stay above water on that part, so it's gonna have to be somewhere between 50 cents and $1.
When does the next rate increase take effect with Circle, or doesn't it?
There's not one scheduled. I think
Okay.
we're locked in for 3 years.
So we've had them for how long, 2 already, or?
Just one.
just one now?
It's going on the second year, right?
Joan, what would your recommendation be on the garbage rates as far as looking at the numbers?
$1.
$1.
Well, I know last month we talked about 50 cents, but I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, then maybe we can, $1 would last for 3, 4, 5 years, who knows? Depends on what, you know, what's gonna happen in a couple of years, but it would be good with $1.
And what's the extra tote, is that gonna stay the same amount?
It's $3 right now. The main concern is that base rate, which is all the
Primary one,
residential
yeah.
garbage, yeah. That would be the amount that needs to come up. The other is just a wash.
I move that we increase our garbage rates for 2018 by $1.
And that's just the base rate, correct?
Base rate, yeah.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
And that would start January 1st.
Keith,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
Kip,
No.
okay, well,
Yes.
oh yes. Proposed dangerous building ordinance,
I think again, we'll table that. just
Okay.
as-
special event permit. I think last month I said I was putting it on hold until I had time to really look at it, so that will be on hold again. Okay, conditional use permit request from Tim and Mary Johnson. There was a planning and zoning meeting today. Recommended do pass on the conditional use permit for Tim and Mary Johnson to do a, was it modular, right? Or no, manufactured, right?
It's a manufactured home.
Manufactured, yeah.
The city commission agreed to sell them an extra lot up in Heritage Heights, so they're buying lot 10 from the builder, and then lot 9 is from the city of Washburn, and they'll be combining those lots, or, yeah, they'll combining the lots, the parcels into one parcel, and then we'll bringing in a home to put across it, but it's a conditional use permit for a modular home.
It would be on the basement. 6-12 pitch on the roof. Very nice looking home. The pictures of it. Who's the manufacturer's home again? There was,
Minnesota somewhere?
yeah, it's a popular one, very popular. No, it wasn't.
It's a
It was,
Minnesota, wasn't it?
Dynamic.
Information.
Dynamic, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, yeah, I mean, they've come in here before, so. So, I will, move that we, grant the conditional use permit.
Second?
Any further discussions on it?
Well, the only thing is I did have some people come in and talk to me about that, and they were concerned about the modular coming in that area, but if they didn't come to the meeting.
Well, and this isn't the only one that's been in that area.
You can't discriminate against them. As long as they're being put on a foundation or a basement. And I think that was one of the deals up there, that
Oh, yeah.
the stipulations of you could move in, but they had to be on the basement.
Right, or at least a foundation,
Yeah.
right, a cement foundation, but yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of it's a touchy subject with
Yeah.
a manufactured home, you know,
You
but
gotta
they're,
be careful just because of other homes lose value then.
But this isn't the first one to go.
No,
up
I
there,
know.
So, yeah, and we approved all the rest of them.
But like I said, they didn't come to the meeting.
Yeah.
they shouldn't lose value.
No.
I went through this a few years ago about that. I talked to a lot of people, lawyers and all that. I think we'd be in kind of some trouble if we discriminated against letting them move in.
But some places have certain rules as far as where, when you build, you have to build a certain.
Well, we have certain rules.
Right.
I mean, it's in our planning and zoning ordinance, that's
Right.
why it's a conditional use permit. But I mean, our planning and zoning ordinance is relatively strict in regards to, what's allowed as a modular.
Mhm.
I mean, that writing is in there.
But this isn't a double wide, it's a
Oh, no.
more of like.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's stick built, you know. Okay, Keith,
Aye.
Reese,
Aye.
Kit,
Right.
well,
Aye.
yes. Okay, then the variance request from Marvin Stroll. He wanted a variance to build within 3 feet of his lot line. Planning and zoning recommended a denial on this for 2 reasons. First one was, he's already over the percentage of building to ground ratio without this addition. And second, we really didn't think it was a good idea to start having everybody build, you know, right up to the edge of their property, just because then once you start, you know, then everybody can ask, and how, you know, where do you draw the line? You know, we're trying to, it should be a hardship in order to get a variance. So that's why we recommended a denial, but well, it is up to the city commission, so. Did I miss anything on that, Sharon? So I will make the motion to deny the variance request from Marvin Stroll.
I'll second that.
Okay. Discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kit?
Aye.
No?
Aye.
Yes. Okay. Portfolios?
Okay, for human resources, on Wednesday, we're gonna meet with employees and do evaluations, so if you guys could give one of us information, if there's anything you want us to put in the evaluations at all. We haven't started up with
That's when? Like 2 days?
Wednesday, yeah, in 2 days. But like I said, get one of us the information, and we'll get that in there, and then evaluations will be Wednesday, so anything at all, just let us know.
Okay.
And that should be it.
Reese?
Just that yesterday, the McLean County Historical Society had their annual meeting, and I had attended that. Good discussion on the old courthouse, talking about paint, roof, and that JLG proposal that we talked about here tonight. Wanted to thank the board for working with the city on that building. Special thanks to Rhonda as curator for working to interface here as well. And then Mark Lelm has been doing some volunteer work at both the museum and then the courthouse. So it's a special thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. But that's it for the portfolios.
Tim?
Nothing.
No?
I don't have anything here.
Yeah, nothing. Joan?
I do, sorry. I had a request that, okay, so between the memorial building and the old courthouse, there's a tree stand that was built into the ground. So there was a request.
Excuse me, where now? The-
In between the museum
Oh.
and the old courthouse,
Okay.
there's that tree, you know, stick the tree in and light it up.
Oh, the
Oh.
Christmas
Rhonda,
tree holder.
I default to Rhonda.
Christmas tree holder? What, the Christmas tree holder? Yeah, the Christmas tree holder.
They would like to put up a Christmas tree
Oh, that's-
in that area and have that lit. The city would be charged the electricity for it. I'm sure it's minimal, but,
Gotta be against Christmas.
Well, that's what it's for.
And it was found out it's on a timer with the other light for the,
It's on a night sensor.
so it makes sense, it'll light up.
So do we need any motion, or just kinda
I think we can just do it.
just do it?
I talked to Widmer Roll. They're the accounting firm. They'll do the 2016 audit. The field work will be done on December 8th, and then we'll begin trying to get information to them here as soon as possible. She will be emailing me a letter of engagement that will need to be signed as soon as possible, and then they request all the information that they need to put the audit together, and then they set up a portal, and then I send all of the PDFs to them. It cuts down on the field work that they have to do here at the office, so they just usually have 1 or 2 days that they
What's-
do.
What's the name of the company?
I'll just spell it because I can't.
Okay.
It's Widmer Roll. It's WIDMER ROEL. And I did go over, Amanda is going to be my contact person, and I did go over the price, and it was not to exceed that $18,000 that was approved at the September 27th meeting. And then we will hopefully be able to get that audit done so that we can file before December 31st. I had our North Dakota Insurance Reserve Fund is up for renewal. I believe I gave a little sheet. Ender has just begun allowing a larger base limit there. Mike Nelson, who does our North Dakota Insurance Reserve insurance, he takes care of that. So it'd be for our general liability and our auto. He does recommend that the city bump up between that $3 million and $4 million range. Last year we paid $7,100, and so then the numbers that are listed per million would be in addition to that $7,000. We're currently, our limit is $2 million, but he does recommend that we move up.
So is that something we can just put on the agenda for next time? And
Nope, it needs to be done today. The renewal is next week, or maybe the end of this week. Or you can keep it the same and then, it just renews as it is.
So this is just general liability for everything and auto insurance?
Correct.
So it's kind of covers all.
Mhm. When I discussed it with him a little bit this afternoon, and some of his reasoning is just, $2 million sounds a lot, but any catastrophic event that the city might have, or if someone were to come back to the city, nowadays, $2 million really isn't as
And
much
is
as
that,
it was.
and that's the addition per year?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
So if we go to 3 million, it's another $538.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not per million, it's like,
Yeah, and that's why he recommended between the 3 and 4 because it wasn't that much of an increase and there wasn't much difference between the two of those price-wise for the city.
I'd be fine with 3, I guess. I don't know. Anybody, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the 3 million sounds, it's good, it's an increase.
Okay, a motion, we increase to 3 million for an extra $538 a year. That's a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
A second,
Second.
discussion?
So then in our budgets so this is money for 18's budget, or is this money for 17's because it's happening next week?
I believe it's 18, but that's a good question. I guess I didn't.
I suppose we didn't build in an increase on
Oh, it's
that.
only $500.
I got you, just that,
Yeah.
just for discussion.
Yeah. Any other discussion? Please,
Hi.
Reese,
Aye.
Kip,
Right.
no? Yes. Okay.
Okay. For many years, the city of Washburn participated in an organization. It used to be called North Dakota Association of Oil and Gas Producing Counties. They have recently changed to Western Dakota Energy Association, and I have that membership fee here. It's $200. And essentially what they do is they give all of the smaller communities that voice at legislation time, to deal with any of the decreases with oil and gas money that we receive. And it's a membership fee. I just need to know if you would like to participate in that.
And we have been a member before?
Actually, we have not been a member since 2015. Maybe it's because they changed their name. So, but prior to that, the city was a member for many years.
Wonder if we didn't quit because we weren't getting anything out of it or something, I don't know.
Maybe that's something we should just look into and
Yeah,
then making a
That's fine.
decision on.
yeah.
And what did you call it, Western?
It's now called Western Dakota Energy Association. I'll send out this
Okay.
additional information.
Anything else?
The Great Plains Security Systems will be here. They just got in the car patrol module this week, so they possibly would be in the end of this week or next week to have that taken care of. I am losing Sharon for the next 4 weeks or so. There may be times here at the office where the city will be closed if I have appointments or my own personal things to take care of, so she's out on personal leave. Still working on the NDEES grant for the water intake. It has to be completed by October 20th, and so that is in the process, and that would be a grant to take down the amount that the city, that $1 million that we would be looking at. It would be, it's a grant to take that down to a 65% of what the city is responsible for, so keep your fingers crossed. We have a meeting next Monday on the 16th, and that's for the 2016 street utility project, and then as well as the sidewalk assessments. And I think I did email those, that information out to everybody. If you did not receive it, let me know.
Yeah, that's for
Look at
the
it.
assessments of
The special assessments?
Right.
Yep, and the sidewalks are,
Did you check on the sidewalks? Because some of the sidewalks came back way higher than the estimate and more area.
the only thing that I could see on the spreadsheet, I have not talked to Eric about it, no, is
Okay.
that some of them, because I had one resident come in to question why her neighbors was so much less, and she had significant more removal. So they charged the removal, her neighbor didn't have any removal. So that's the only, I mean, I can,
Let's just need to check into
the removal cost. That was the difference between the one. A lot of them just, the larger amount ones, they just had a lot of square footage and then, square footage, and then the one that you had asked me about, it was a 6-inch sidewalk where the rest of them were 4-inch.
Is that in here?
I don't believe it is, it was in a previous email.
And I know I saw in the email, I was wondering, it said total assessed amount with engineering was 54,000 or something. And that's, so that was the total project cost for sidewalks, or that was the total of what the homeowners have to pay?
The total of property cost is $47,363.89.
Okay.
but then they have to pay, for the most part, half of that.
No, that is their half.
Oh, that's
The
better.
total project was $112,804
Okay, 'cause
and 78 cents.
I thought that sheet that was sent out said the total project with engineering was like 54,000. I thought that's what I read. I might have read it wrong, but that's what I thought.
This is the only sheet I have. I haven't made my own sheet. This is direct from A to S, and it says 47,363.
Yeah, this is different than the one I saw, I think. Yeah, this is different than what I saw. Yeah, this is way different than the one. I don't know if I don't know if I was sent an email, maybe from A2S or something, I'm not sure. I just remember it was different from that. so.
Well, I suppose you could talk to them and see if there's,
Yeah, and Eric will be at the meeting on
Okay.
Monday, so if we have any additional questions with it, we can take care of it then. Also at the meeting on Monday, and I believe I've sent this out also, but the sidewalks are on a 10-year assessment, or generally, yeah, they're a 10-year. The 2016 project is a 20-year assessment, and then I will be asking you to set the percentage rate for the 2016 project. And then, so the hearing is on again, that's next Monday at 6:30. And then we have the recall election, which is on January 9th. And then any paperwork or anybody who would like to run for that position needs to be in by November 6th at 4 p.m. And that is all I have. Unless there's any questions?
Is it?
Yep. Yes, thank you.
Oh, Brian's not there. Anybody else?
Did you want to ask Brian about the list to sell?
Is he there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
There.
what? I didn't see him. So did you get that used equipment stuff?
Got
Lined up?
pictures of it, yep.
It's all lined up and stuff? Oh, okay.
Well, it's not lined up.
I mean,
lined up,
but, okay, you got pictures of it? Okay.
yeah.
All right, well,
That, and by the way, that trailer is in there, that's the one, the green trailer, that Keith was questioning earlier.
You want that one for sale?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. Good.
I mean, if you need it for something,
No, I don't really think we need that one, I mean, the other one we definitely do, but,
Okay.
the other one's
yeah,
better for hauling stuff. This one's kind of a beast.
yeah. Bouncy.
Okay, I'll see if we can't get together and
Okay.
So when
All right.
is the date?
What's the date for that?
I'll, we're gonna have to get everything written up. I don't know, I guess we don't have a date yet. We have a description of
Auction sale?
everything and,
Well, you know, not in detail, no, I mean, I'm just
listed for sale.
They're,
just
they have
pictures and that's
discussed
pretty much
putting
it
those
for
on.
now, I don't know. I don't wanna be setting it up outside,
No, no.
Have to go on bid.
well, for people to
I don't
be
know,
able
and as far
to
as, do
bid
you
on.
wanna actually have like an auction type thing, or do you wanna just?
no, they'll be bids, sealed bids, I think, so. That's it.
Okay.
Well, how about if we set something up and then, maybe we can get something.
Is the wood chipper gonna be on there then? I see a question mark.
We didn't take a picture of it, no. We just kinda left it because it had the question mark as to whether or not, decide what to do with
If we're
it.
not gonna use it. The Unimog, that'll be sold separately. Or
The
that-
the entire Unimog?
No, the sweeper,
Oh.
sweeper. So. We'll see if we can get something put together.
So what are you looking at doing with these?
Just on bid.
Just,
Some bids.
oh, okay. And so they'll just be on display down at the,
Well, that, and we might
And there's
try and.
pictures, so we could just put pictures online too.
Right. Right, maybe on the city website, and then, you know, we'll set a date and have a description of everything, so that should be pretty easy to get set up, I would think.
Well, can we just say that December 9th? Or, I mean, around that time, 2 months?
Yeah, well, let's see,
I don't know what day that is. I'm just-
what day's our meeting?
Really?
11th,
Ninth is a Saturday.
ninth to Saturday,
8th?
so it'll be on the 8th, then. We'll set up for December 8th, okay?
Sounds good.
Yeah, that gives us a couple months, yeah, right, that'll work. Okay.
at the memorial,
What?
at the Memorial Hall?
Well, they'll send them in to you.
Yeah, they'll send them in.
Well, I have the audit on December 8th. So I'm not available on December 8th, but Brian and his crew can be taking care of it,
Well,
so that's fine.
it's not gonna be people standing here bidding. It's
No,
gonna
we're
be
just gonna be opening.
Yeah.
Opening
They
bid.
just open envelopes or
They
whatever.
have to have it in by that
on
date.
it.
Okay, I need this room on December 8th.
Okay,
Well, it's just,
yeah.
The whole
we'll do it in
room.
the, we'll do it in the shop.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. All right, perfect. We can get it done by then, right, Brian?
I think so.
Okay, nothing else, meeting adjourned?
Bills?
Oh, yeah.
I move that we accept the bills
Okay.
and pay them.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Keith?
Aye.
Reese?
Aye.
Kip? Thank you, everyone.